What's up, y'all? I'm about to do another video. I'm out here back in LA, back home, not too far from that Hollywood sign. This shit ain't really all that though. I mean, LA cool, but Hollywood is low-key whack. But anyway, I wanted to tell y'all the first time that when I was in Rikers and I got exposure to the Bloods. Like, when I was in the box, I would hear about these dudes. Like, I heard about them, Blood. I didn't really know nothing about the LA version or nothing like that. You know, I grew up in the Bronx. Like, we didn't really have all that type of stuff out there in my time back in the 90s. So I was just like, you know, I didn't really know nothing about all that. But when I was in Rikers back in 93, you started to hear about it a little bit. And let me say this, on the island back then, it was rough because the Latinos had so much unity, man. Them people was like unified. If they was beefing in the streets, they wasn't beefing in there with each other. They unified that shit, which gave them so much power. They were so organized. They had a common language. They had a culture. So that made them like powerful. And us black dudes, African American dudes, we didn't have none of that. So we was renegading against ourselves. Like, the Muslims wasn't really heavy like that. 5%ers wasn't heavy like that. It wasn't really not like that. And I remember when I was in there, I had to fight black dudes, Spanish dudes. I had to fight everybody, and it was kind of lame. And, you know, I got my weight up. Like I said in the other video, once I got that razor and that banger, it was over. You know, it was like showtime. But I think the first time I really saw a Blood dude in action was I was up in Green adolescent jail. So I'm up in Green, and at this point, they got a red light, the Latino gangs, that's Latin Kings, Nietas, Trinidadios, Dominican Power DPs, all of them niggas. They was clicked up, and they had a red light on this new thing that was starting called Bloods. Now, let me rewind it a little bit. The Muslims had this part of their, that they didn't even know about really though, called smoke. Smoke was like the renegade Muslims that was like, you know, that was banging low key. Come to find out that a lot of those dudes was Bloods in disguise, because they had to go under different banners in order to keep their shit low key. And they had their identifications, which was the 3 burns on the shoulders, the dog paws. They started with those, the dog paw burns, which was an identifier, and then they switched it up. You know, they just switched it up. So they went from, I know it's big B's, then little B's. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not affiliated, but I remember being in the box and starting to see them dudes circulate in the box. And you would see their iconography and everything like that. You know, one of my homeboys from school, Tyson, he was Blood, and he shared the lessons with me and all that. But I can't fuck with hurting my own people. You see, if we fighting against the opposition, say less. But to be black and to fight against other black people seemed counterproductive. It didn't really make sense to me. But I understood the unity aspect and the culture aspect a lot more later on. But back to when I first really saw a Blood dude in action. I was in Green. I remember we was in the day room, and I was in the little day room, the glassed off day room. And then you had two day rooms. You had like the day room that was glassed off. That was like where you go to watch movies and niggas is quiet. Then you had the open day room where niggas is playing cards, watching TV, but it's a lot louder, right? So there was this kid, black, who I ain't know him like that, but he was cool. And he was playing cards with the Spanish niggas. Like, he was just chilling. And all of a sudden, you feel the energy, bro. Like, when you in there, you know when shit is about to happen, because everybody's body movements just become different and become tense. And you started seeing some dudes talk in the bathroom, and dudes just started talking, and little Spanish dudes is talking in little clusters. So homeboy peeped it while he was playing cards. He peeped it, and all the while, I'm in the little day room watching a movie, and I look out and I could see the tension. I see shit starting to get interesting. So I leave the little day room, because you don't want to be in that little day room and shit pop off. Ain't no place to go. You can't really move around. So I went ahead to the fucking to the big day room, and I already had my little gun on me, so I just kind of played a little position, because race wars would jump off. You don't even know what's going on, bro. Like, back then, in the 90s, niggas would just jump into some race war shit, and you black, you just got to get down. And homeboy got up, casually went to the bathroom. The niggas that was talking, they moved out the way, but they was looking at him. And then he came back down, and he just sat down at the card table like everything was Gucci, like there was no problems. And I felt the energy that they was paying attention to him. Like, they was low key. They was looking at him. Niggas was speaking Spanish, but you could tell when niggas was talking about you. So I guess before anybody got a chance to make a move, this nigga pulls out a razor, slices the dude right across from him, then sliced the dude on the left side. The other dude on the right side jumped up. He punches him, bow. And this dude backs his back against the wall and started going to town. Like, this nigga cut like 6 people by himself. They was coming up to me. He was blasting them. Bow, 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 bow. I'm 16. And before anybody get to move, because, you know, I'm in there with some other black dudes, and we was about to get involved with it. The police came in there. They rushed it and everything. And niggas was frozen. I ain't gonna hold you. I was frozen. Because it's not like he needed any help. This man, it was like watching some sort of mythical Viking or something, because the way he was going to town, it was like he represented 5 or 6 people by himself, no cap. And I ain't never seen nothing like that. That level of bravery and intensity was just crazy. And then the thing is, blood dudes started becoming known for that, because it'd be like 1 against 10, and they'll take 8 out. So them dudes built their reputation on the island from being vicious, and they would take them Spanish dudes out, bro. They would take them out by bunches. If you got 3 of them together, it was over. It's a wrap. And then they started to dominate the box. So that's when I started to meet a lot of them, because I got I got 90 days in the box for stabbing, and luckily I didn't catch a new charge, but they wasn't giving new charges back then. So I had to do 90 and 1 lower. And fucking, you hear them dudes on the gate talking and shit. And I got cool with a few of them. And this one kid named Primo, like, he was a boss. And it was just like listening to these dudes talk, and just kind of like, they had their own language, you know, Skyline, yo, Roscoe. They was just talking these languages, bro, that you didn't even know what they was talking about. And there was a certain level of genius involved, because you created a language, you created all this shit that was just crazy. And it's just a testament to people like us who don't really have a culture in this country. You don't really got a culture as a black man in this country. Your culture is redefined every time you think about it. You know, you don't really know what's popping. And the gangs, as destructive as they could be, man, because the gangs could be fucked up, but they're an army. And imagine if that army ever becomes self-aware, it'd be crazy, because they are a fucking army. And I guess my take on it is just different, because not for nothing, them dudes balance the scales in Rikers. You know, I told you in my last videos how many times I was jumped and fighting and had to keep doing all that shit. That was the Spanish dudes. I wasn't really fighting too many black dudes like that, to be honest with you. You know, and I'm cool with mad Spanish dudes, bro. I grew up in the Bronx, you know. You know, it is what it is. But in jail, them dudes organize and they become oppressors, homie. And them blood dudes balance the scales. And I just always thought that if the people in our community, the powerful people in our community, the rich people in our community, was to give them some guidance, to give all these gangs some guidance, you would have an army at your fingertips. But like, all I could say was just that I ain't never see somebody so brave in my life. And that shit stuck with me to today. But that's the end of today's story. I'll let y'all know where I'm at next time. It is pretty sunny and nice out here. I ain't gonna hold you. All right, then. Peace.